Hi everyone, welcome to the Ever-Seeking Empath. I'm a reader who uses tarot, oracle, and charms, and today's reading is how can you make the most of your summer. I'm doing a little bit of a summer solstice themed reading, and so summer solstice means fairies, so we've got a bunch of fairy cards to use today. We're going to figure out how you can make the most of your summer. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody that this is a general reading, so it might not resonate for everybody, so just take the messages that you feel are meant for you and disregard the rest. Also, if you enjoy this video, please hit that like button for me and subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so, because it does help the channel out a lot, and then you get to see when I've posted new content right away. So, we have 3 piles today, as per usual. Pile 1 is Devotion, number 12. Pile 2 is Overindulgence, number 18. And pile 3 is Coffee Break, number 2. And these are from the Fairy Wisdom Oracle. So just take a deep breath and let your intuition guide you to a pile. I'm going to put the timestamps in the description and in the comments below. And we are going to get started now with pile number 1. Hi group 1, so if you chose number 12, Devotion, then this is your message. So we are going to start with your tarot and oracle cards and then do your charms at the end, so stay tuned for that. So let's figure out how you can make the most of your summer. So for your tarot, you have the Dreamer, which is the Fool in traditional tarot, and it says, embrace your true purpose, begin a new adventure, trust yourself. You have Unity, which is the Hierophant in traditional tarot, do the right thing for the right reason, compare traditional versus new approaches to see which works for you, a spiritually minded community. And then your final tarot card is 8 of Winter, or 8 of Swords. You have what it takes if only you believe in yourself, thinking that you're powerless when you're not, a lack of self-confidence that keeps you from getting what you want. So I feel like this summer you have to take a leap of faith, because the Dreamer being the Fool, that's taking a leap of faith, that's just jumping in and seeing what happens, that's not thinking too much about it or holding yourself back, because with this 8 of Winter, that's the energy of holding yourself back because you feel like you can't do it, or there's some kind of mental limitation, some kind of mental block that is really holding you back from jumping into something. But the Dreamer is saying just go for it. And for some of you with Unity, the Hierophant, it might be an issue of not knowing whether to take a more traditional approach, doing the thing that a lot of people before you have done, or taking a new approach, something you've never done. I'm kind of getting the sense that you might need to kind of buck the traditional approach and move towards something new, something exciting, something unexpected. But for some of you, it might be the opposite. You might have been taking a more a more novel approach, and now you need to do it a little more practically, a little more traditionally. So it's going to differ for everybody, but I feel like for most of you, it's saying kind of take a leap of faith and do something unexpected. So let's see what your oracle cards have to say. So you have Catch Me, Trust, Surrender, Leap of Faith into the Unknown. And I have not looked at these yet, so this is blowing my mind here. This is exactly the Fool energy right here, and this is number 13. By the way, if anybody is into numerology. So yeah, this is crazy because this is absolutely Fool energy. This is just saying take that leap of faith, don't hold yourself back. Just trust that you'll be caught, and trust that you have the wings to carry you far, because in this it looks like she's kind of turning into a bunch of birds, that she is trusting herself, so then she's realizing that she has the ability to fly. She doesn't have to just take like the standard paved path. So that's really exciting. I feel like a lot of you are just needing to do something you've never done before this summer. You have Hummingbird Spirit, Joy, number 22. So that's a repeating number for any of you who kind of pay attention to that. So yeah, joy, embracing joy. I think that's a lot of the time what the Fool is about too, is just embracing what brings you joy and not holding yourself back because of feeling like it's stupid or silly, or like other people would judge you for it. This is just saying whatever brings you joy, do it. Do that. You have Journey, It's time to prepare for a journey. It may be impromptu or planned. Either way, make sure you're ready when the time comes. Pack your passport now. So a lot of you might actually be traveling this summer, especially for those of you who have not been able to travel. Maybe you're even planning travel if you're not actually traveling this summer, but I feel like there's definitely this kind of journey preparation, like it says. And this is also making me think of the Unity like Hierophant card as well, since it says it may be impromptu or planned. Impromptu is making me think of that novel approach, very full energy, you know, taking a leap of faith. And then planned is giving me the other side, the more traditional approach. So I do feel like it's saying whatever path you're taking, go for something. You know, I feel like there's this energy of just like somebody shoving you from behind, wanting you to go for something and not holding yourself back. You have abundance. So yeah, I think if you take this leap of faith, you're going to find tons of abundance, because I think a lot of you have been hoping that something's going to come to you. Maybe you've been like waiting for something to kind of come around. It's like, I keep kind of looking at this card, like I'm almost feeling like for a lot of you, you've been waiting for someone to notice you. And even if it's not like a relationship or anything romantic, I feel like some of you have been waiting to be noticed by the universe or by a situation, like you want to get picked for a job or you want your time to come. That's kind of the energy that I'm getting. And I just knocked into all those cards when I did that. Oh my goodness. I cannot keep these tidy today. I don't know why. Okay, but yeah, I feel like you just have to jump in and that's going to bring you abundance. You have turtle, so I do think a lot of you have been taking things really slowly, really trying to be slow and steady, and it's just, you feel like you're not getting anywhere. So in some cases, that slow but steady route might not be right for you. Slow and steady can get you that like kind of standard, very steady progress, and very kind of measured progress, but I feel like some of you are feeling frustrated by that and it's not feeling like enough and you just don't see any progress. Maybe some of you are doing a slow but steady kind of thought process. Like I'm feeling like a lot of you aren't even necessarily doing anything, because with this showing the turtle in the water at night, I feel like maybe some of you are kind of slowly and steadily sifting through your emotions or sifting through your mental space, especially with that 8 of winter. That's very mental energy. So I think a lot of you maybe are thinking very slowly about something, like you still haven't made a decision. And this is saying just do something. You know, you don't have to just sit and like float, because I feel like the turtle also, it's making me think of Finding Nemo when the sea turtles end up in the EAC, you know, they're in the current and the current's taking them way faster. So some of you might need to just jump into the current, even if you're going to be kind of floating along once you're in there, but take that path that's going to get you somewhere a little bit faster. And then your final oracle card is She of the Mossy Bray. Not all things are as they seem. Trust in your intuition. So I do think a lot of you, I mean, this turtle does look kind of intuitive as well, because we've got the moon, we've got the water. That's all very intuitive energy. I think a lot of you are maybe trying to talk yourself out of listening to your intuition because of that 8 of winter, you know, mental blocks holding you back. But I think your intuition is like pushing you to jump. You know, it's that feeling of wanting to jump. Like if you're on the edge of a cliff, you know, not that you want to jump off that, but there's this energy of just like freedom and just wanting to explore and just this pull towards something exciting. It is this like leap of faith energy. I'm not telling anybody to jump off a cliff. I'm realizing it's sounding like that, but just literally like staying put isn't always the way. A lot of the time you just have to take that leap of faith. It might feel like jumping off a cliff. It might feel like you're jumping into something you know nothing about, but trust in yourself to learn and explore and allow yourself to make mistakes along the way as well. But I think your intuition will guide you to the right place for you. So we are going to get your charms now for some more information. And we are going to use the heart to kind of figure out what's in the heart of the situation. So group 1, how can you make the most of this summer? All right. So in your heart today, you have the word secret. So I do think a lot of you have been holding back. And if this is, whoops, that one was in there. If this does have to do with relationships, maybe you're holding back your feelings for someone. Like this definitely looks like there's some romantic devotion between them, but it looks like this fairy has not confessed their feelings to the other one. Like they're just admiring them. Maybe they don't feel good enough because they are sitting here below them. So I think a lot of you are just feeling devoted to something, but maybe you haven't made that devotion known. So whether it's a relationship or a job or a career path or just a life purpose, I feel like you have this draw towards something. You feel like it's meant for you, but you haven't actually voiced it to the world, and maybe you haven't even fully acknowledged it to yourself yet. So I do feel like it's this kind of underlying secret that's sitting there. You have the French press. So the French press talks about doing things differently. So that makes me think of what we were talking about with the Hierophant and the turtle card and a bunch of your cards. It's like if you've been doing things one way and it hasn't been working or you haven't gotten the results you've wanted, maybe it's time to try things a little bit differently because it might turn out better for you. You have the sun and moon here, so this is saying clarity will come. I think you are going to be shining some light on your intuition and maybe shining light on the secret that you've been kind of holding back. So I think you are going to come to some realizations. This is, the wave is like very watery energy. So again, that makes me think of the sea turtle riding the wave. There's a lot of like water energy in this pile in general, but with this wave, I feel like riding the wave, you have to maybe kind of jump in and take that wave. Like it makes me think of how surfers kind of wait for that wave to come, but then they have to jump in and actually go after that wave. They can't just kind of sit or like stand on their board and wait for it to come to them. They have to go, swimming out to catch it. So keep that in mind. You have the snowflake here, so winter might be significant or might have been significant for you. There might have been something important that happened, maybe a realization or something new occurred, but this also talks about like your uniqueness. Snowflakes are unique. No two snowflakes are alike, so I feel like this is saying embrace your uniqueness. You don't have to fit in with other people or do things identically to other people because no two journeys are the same. And then you also have the mermaid. So the mermaid talks often about deep dives. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So again, a deep dive into your emotions, into your intuition, into your heart. I think really exploring what it is you want to do and then allowing yourself to go for it, or at least to explore the idea of going for it. Because I think a lot of you have maybe shut down something that you wanted to do just because you felt like it wasn't feasible. You have the word always. So some of you, I think, maybe always wanted to do this. You have heart. So I do think a lot of you might be interested in somebody or interested in a relationship. And I do think like the phrase always in my heart as well. So maybe someone's thinking of you or you're thinking of somebody else. And I think if there's something that has not left your heart, maybe it's time to explore that a bit more. So whether that is a relationship or a person, even if it's not I'm going to kind of get on my soapbox a little bit. If this is a relationship that you feel is toxic or that you don't want to kind of re-enter or you feel like it's totally done, maybe this is saying explore those feelings that haven't left, and maybe it's time to do a deep dive to figure out why they haven't left. What are you searching for? What do you feel attached to? Like what about it is keeping you stuck? Because I think this summer, I feel like you can make the most of this by really getting yourself unstuck, whatever that means for you. But this is also making me think of just things that haven't left your heart. So like if you've always wanted to try out a new hobby or, learn a skill or go somewhere, if that's stuck in your heart, maybe that's saying just go for it. You have the letter P, and I believe that that's the only letter coming out for you. So that might be significant for a lot of you. That could be like a name. I'm thinking like life purpose for a lot of you is really kind of what's coming up this summer, is really exploring your purpose. You have Aries energy and you also have Scorpio energy, and the Scorpio charm says passionate. So I do think something that you're passionate about. Aries, I feel a lot of the time is very passionate too, but theirs is much more of a fiery passion, and Scorpio is a watery passion. So Scorpio, I feel like it's very focused on the emotional aspect of it. Aries is focused on the action-oriented aspect of it. So I do think for a lot of you, it's something like you're stuck in the Scorpio energy of just like exploring and deep diving and kind of sitting there, or some of you maybe need to do that. And then Aries is saying, then take action on it. You can't sit just in your emotional state and letting those emotions swirl around and around and around and not doing anything about it. You have the angel here. So I do think a lot of you have some divine protection and help. You might be seeing some signs and synchronicities. A lot of you, I think, are kind of waiting to hear from like a guardian angel or a passed over loved one as well. So that might be a message for you that they're kind of coming through. You have the horseshoe here, so that's saying your luck is changing. It was kind of tilted at this angle, so I feel like if you felt like you've been having a lot of bad luck lately, this is saying your luck is improving. So just kind of hold on to hope for that. I feel like a lot of you can feel that luck changing too, that you're maybe starting to get excited, but you don't want to get your hopes up. You have the airplane here, so yeah, a lot of you, this is going to be actual travel, but otherwise I think this just symbolizes doing things you've never done before, maybe looking at things from a higher perspective and not just looking at it from where you are on the ground. This is making me think flight too, like that, the card that we had of, I think, Catch Me. Hold on, let me pull that out. Yeah, Catch Me, with the birds kind of coming out, that flight message is kind of coming through. So I do think it's saying, spread your wings and fly, even if that's a super cheesy phrase, but I do feel like the message is still significant. You have the geometric unicorn, so that's another message about uniqueness and allowing yourself to create the unique life that you want and allowing yourself to create yourself in your own authentic image too, that with this unicorn, so unicorns represent uniqueness, also this very like pure energy. So I feel like really getting to the core of who you are and then allowing yourself to piece together whatever makes you feel the most you. Like it makes you feel authentic, it makes you feel like you're living in your own truth. And this is saying you have the power to create that in whatever shape that you want it to be. You have the little heart leaf here, so that's saying like growth is coming, abundance. This is a very abundant energy, and I also feel like that emotional growth too. So a lot of you maybe have kind of felt very stuck or felt like you haven't progressed emotionally, and that's why this deep dive is necessary. With the corkscrew, that's about uncorking things. So I always think of like when you uncork your emotions, like a lot of the time if you have a really rough day and like one little thing goes wrong, that just like pulls the cork out of you and you just spill everything that's been bothering you, like everything just kind of builds up, or you start crying, or you need to talk about it with someone, and it's just things build and build and build, and then finally like one thing tips you over the edge. So I do think a lot of you need to kind of unload on someone, journal, have a good cry, just something to get that emotion out of you, because I think you're storing up too much. You have the anchor, so that talks about keeping yourself feeling stable, anchoring yourself in whatever that is, trusting yourself that you can weather the storm. You don't like have to feel like you're going to drown or like the storm's going to like carry you away. You can anchor yourself. You are solid. You have the capability to kind of stay stable in the eye of the storm. You have the skull with the flower, so that makes me think of death and rebirth. So I do think a lot of you are transforming into something new, that you're kind of shedding the version of yourself that doesn't feel right anymore, and you want to take that leap into something that feels a bit more abundant. This is really that shedding of what doesn't serve you anymore and then kind of moving into that state of abundance. But I do think it's encouraging you to allow that process to happen, even if it's uncomfortable. Because with the mouse here, this is your final charm. This is just making me think of fear holding you back. I'm just thinking this mouse, I don't know if you can really see it, it's kind of just holding back. It just looks like it's wanting to move out, like I'm picturing it inside a little mouse hole and wanting to take that leap to like try to go and get that piece of cheese or whatever, or crumb on the floor, but it's scared because it doesn't know what if there's a cat in the room or something like that. So I feel like a lot of you are what-ifing a lot, that you don't want to take this leap because you're afraid of what might happen. But you can't live your life led by fear all the time. Obviously fear can help us, it can help keep us safe, but sometimes fear takes over to the point that we're not engaging in life. So this summer, you can make the most of it by engaging in life again, taking a leap of faith, not allowing yourself to stay stuck. So group 1, I hope that this resonated. I would love to hear if it does, so please leave me a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not already done so. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Hi group 2, so if you chose overindulgence, which is number 18, then this is your message. So we are going to start with your tarot and oracle cards and then do your charms at the end, so stay tuned for that. So let's figure out how you can make the most of your summer. For your tarot, you have Justice. Take the time to review the details carefully. You will win in the end. Fair and objective decisions. Strength. The grace and inner strength needed to overcome challenges. The power of kindness and forgiveness. Time to embrace how wonderful you are. And then you have release, which is the death card. Let go of the past, an ending that makes way for new opportunities. Time to move on. So I feel like in order to make the most of your summer this year, you have to release something from your past. It might be like a phase of your life that you're having to release. It might be like a person, it might be a job, it might be an old behavior, a way of thinking, but there is something big that needs to be released. But I feel like whatever this release is, it's going to make way for better things in the future. But in order to do this, I do think that you're going to have to kind of summon up some bravery. And I think you have to make sure that you're being kind and compassionate to yourself, because the Strength card even says the power of kindness and forgiveness and time to embrace how wonderful you are. And I feel like a lot of the time that forgiveness it talks about is forgiving yourself. And then with justice, you will win in the end in fair and objective decisions. So I think this might be something that you might have to kind of remove the emotion from the situation in order to make the best decision for yourself, because I think a lot of you maybe are holding back because of whatever this is. It's bringing up a lot of really difficult emotions for you, or it's something you're very heavily emotionally attached to. But with your card being overindulgence as well, I feel like a lot of you maybe have kind of overdone it with whatever the situation is, and that's why it's really needing to be released, because it's just too much right now. And I think you might even have like an overflowing of emotion in general, like with overindulgence, just makes me think of sometimes overindulging in being emotional or like wallowing. But with this cup here too, it's making me think of the Ace of Cups, which can often be like overflowing emotions. But let's see what your oracle cards have to say. So you have fairy tales, letting go, detachment, moving on. So, and that's number 19. And isn't that just perfect, because you have release? So I do feel like that's really the biggest thing that is going to help you make the most of your summer, is you have to release something from the past. I think you have to will yourself to move on from something and trust that whatever's coming in is going to bring more balance into your life, because justice can also speak to balance, balancing things out and making things feel a little bit more stable, because I think a lot of the time when you're overindulging in something, life can feel extremely out of balance, even if the thing that you're overindulging in is something that you generally really love. It's overdoing it is just throwing your life balance off. You have Crystal Cave, trust. So I do think that you have to trust that better things are coming to you, and trust that you're not going to be losing everything. Because I do feel like there's this sense of feeling like you're going to lose everything if you leave this behind. And I feel like you're also maybe feeling bad if you're leaving something behind. Maybe you're feeling bad about somebody you have to leave behind, or it's whatever you're leaving behind maybe is going to leave someone in the lurch a little bit because of this girl walking away from the guy here. I'm wondering if that's what's been making you hang on, is that you've been making a decision or holding on to something because it's best for someone else, but not best for you. And so this is saying, trust that things are coming to you, trust that you are making the right decision, and trust in yourself, trust in your own inner power. Because I feel like with this kind of glowing light here, it almost seems like it's coming from within her, or she's creating it. So to me, that says trusting in yourself is going to be really important. And that card's number 9. I don't know that I said that before. You have motivation. When spring approaches, the flower fairies urge you to spring into action. If there's something you've been merely thinking about doing, they say get busy and do it. So yeah, I think kind of mustering up the willpower to do this, to let this go, to move forward, to move on, to kind of cut out a toxic habit or a toxic person or whatever this is. I do think you've known for a long time that this is something you need to remove from your life. And for some of you, if this doesn't feel like it's resonating, it could even just be getting rid of some old junk in your life. Like if it's physical, just like clutter, or if you want to clean out your closet, if you have too many clothes, or if you have a hobby you don't involve yourself in anymore and you want to get rid of the things related to that, just things like that. I feel like some of you, this is something you've been toying with for a while and you've been wanting to kind of get rid of it. And this is saying just muster up that motivation and do it. You have connection. So I do feel like for a lot of you, this has to do with a connection of some sort, cutting out a toxic person, cutting out a toxic relationship, a breakup. And this also says reach out to other people around you, to loved ones, to help you let whatever this is go. So especially if this is not like a relationship or something that you're letting go of, reach out to other people around you, reach out to loved ones, and they're going to help you kind of get through this. I think that sense of connection might be why it's been difficult for you to let go of this. So maybe some of you have trouble fostering connections with new people as well. And this is just saying to really devote some of your energy to creating those new connections with people, or to nurturing the connections that are already there. Because nurturing connections also helps you increase trust for other people as well. So I think that that's really something that you have to work on. And maybe some of you have been kind of filling that void in your life, like if you had people in your life. So that void from not feeling like you have someone that you can trust. I think that's why you've been overindulging in whatever this other thing is that it's been kind of filling that void space in your life. You have mystery. So I think a lot of you are hesitating to let go just because you don't know what's coming. I think a lot of the time that's why it's hard to let go of things, because we don't know that it'll be replaced with something better. We don't know if anything else is coming to us. We don't know what's in store for us in the future. We don't know if things are going to blow up in our faces. So I think this is saying just trust in the mystery. You know, sometimes it's not time yet for you to know what's coming. So just allow that mystery to remain. You don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to kind of parse through and find the answers yet. You can just let go and then make room for new things. Because sometimes letting go just opens up space for new things to come in. And it doesn't necessarily mean that one grand thing is going to come in, but now you've made space to explore. Because I think a lot of the time people feel like nothing is going to be left, but this opens up all this space for you to explore and just kind of, you know, get your feet wet in a few different things and see what really feels right to you. You have Sun, and this, just seeing this trust card, these are kind of feeling connected to me. So I do feel like this is making me think you create your own sunshine, because she's creating this ball, or this is within her, this kind of glowing orb or whatever that is. So I feel like a lot of you need to trust in yourself to bring light and joy and sunshine into your life. And this is also making me think of willpower and motivation and taking action. So with that motivation card, I think some of you just really need to muster up the motivation to get this done, whatever it is. I think you know what it is. For, like, if this is your pile, I think you really know what this habit or this person or this situation is that you have to remove yourself from. And then also, this is kind of a separate message as well. Get outdoors and get some sunshine if you're able to, because I feel like that's going to really help a lot of you feel better as well. And then finally, you have the Griffin. Be brave and fly above the clouds. So yeah, that's kind of going with this very action-oriented energy that we have as well, and this kind of trusting in the unknown, because I feel like if you're only flying below the clouds, you don't really know what's above the clouds. You know, you're kind of hesitating because you're like, what if I go up there and it's horrible, or I can't breathe, or I fall? You know, that's kind of what I'm feeling, is that this is saying be brave, go through those clouds. There's going to be this kind of mysterious period where you can't see anything, everything looks foggy, you know, you can't see 3 feet in front of you, but then you're going to get above those clouds and everything's going to clear up a bit. You're going to be able to see things from a higher perspective and really explore something new. So group 2, I want to get your charms now for some more information, and we are using the heart today to figure out what's in the heart of the situation. So group 2, how can you make the most of your summer? Okay, so in your heart you have 10, so that could have to do with the 10th house, but I'm not all that familiar with the tarot houses, the astrological houses, so I don't really want to explore that too much until I do a little more research. But the number 10 can also have to do with the month of October. It can be the 10th of a month. It can just be a lucky number for you, but just I feel like for a lot of you, 10 is really standing out. And also number 10 is completion. Like that's like that closure, that's closing things down. 10s in tarot are kind of the end before you start a new cycle. So like 10 of Pentacles is that full abundance. You're leaving a legacy behind you. 10 of Wands is having taken on too much and having to let things go, start again. 10 of Swords is being at rock bottom and just, you know, having to let go of something that has just felt like it destroyed you. And 10 of Cups is this really overwhelmingly full happiness and emotional fulfillment. So I do feel like that might resonate with some of you. You have Knight energy, so that's movement forward. So I do feel like that's the Strength card that's coming forward. That's all this action oriented energy that's come out. It's just saying, just do it, just do it, just do it. That's kind of what's coming to mind, is just that phrase. Just jump in there and get doing, you know, instead of thinking about it or wondering if you should or holding back. And then with the Shooting Star, that's saying your wishes will come true. Your wishes granted, whatever you've been hoping for will turn out. And I feel like you are going to have a spot of good luck coming your way as well, especially if you take action on this and jump in, you know, let go of something and let new things come in. I feel like things are going to line up really well for you. So this is the Sun. So that's just supporting the Sun card that came out for us. Again, you know, clarity and brightness, happiness, that action-oriented energy as well. I feel like a lot of you too, that's like saying your sun sign. So maybe whatever your sun sign in the zodiac is coming forward, and your sun sign is what most people know of and like think of when someone asks you what your astrological sign is. So I do feel like that might be significant, or that kind of energy might be coming up a lot for you. So you might really be embodying the traits of your sun sign. You've got Libra energy here. So Libra is also justice. So since you got the Justice card, there's some extra emphasis here on Libra energy, but that's again coming into balance, you know, harmony as well. And just this does have to do often with relationships. Libras are very relationship oriented, so it doesn't have to be romantic, but just that harmonious connection between people. You have no. So I feel like you really do have to know what to say no to. I think a lot of you have really just held on to something even if it doesn't feel right to you. So this is saying just say no, set a boundary. You have U and C, so that's making me think of like you'll see, and also see you, because that's kind of the order I put them in. So I feel like some of you are like, you know what, I'm done, I'll see you, you know, just like saying goodbye to something. You have the wine barrel here, so that's kind of funny because your card is overindulgence, and she's sitting in a glass of wine with the grapes all around her. So I do feel like this is just more emphasis on that overindulgence, and with it being the wine barrel, it's making me think of making wine. So maybe this overindulgence is something like of your own making. So maybe you set up doing this to cope with something, or you were really trying to overindulge because maybe you were someone who didn't indulge and then you just went too far, you know. So it is that, again, that energy of getting out of balance. So this summer, try to scale that back and get yourself back into balance again. More letting go and new beginnings energy with the skull, with the flower there. So that's death and rebirth again. You have the lighthouse, so that talks about guidance and seeing the light, things kind of guiding you on your way home. You have believe in love, so I think a lot of you might need to believe in love again, whether that's relationship-wise or just believing in those connections, the people who have always been there to support you. You have the fertility goddess here, so that's abundance coming into your life, things just really improving and growing in your life. Getting yourself unstuck is really going to be significant, and because that's right by the word that says peace, that makes me think that getting yourself unstuck really is going to bring you peace. It might be painful to get yourself unstuck. It might be a lot of work. It might be kind of heart-wrenching. But I think once you have released it and you've moved forward a little bit, you've taken those steps forward, you're going to recognize how much peace you feel again. So, group 2, I do feel like this summer, in order to make the most of it, you are going to have to let go of some things. Just allow those new things to grow and really take action on the things that you feel drawn to. So letting something go, moving into something new, setting those boundaries, and trying to live the life that feels right to you and feels healthier, feels more in balance, because that's really important. Those are the main themes that have kind of come forward here. So group 2, I hope that this resonated. I would love to hear if it does, so please leave me a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Hi group 3, so if you chose coffee break, which is number 2, then this is your message. So we are going to start with your tarot and oracle cards and then do your charms at the end, so stay tuned for that. So let's see how you can make the most of your summer. So for your tarot, you have King of Summer, honorable, devoted, mature, warm-hearted, a romantic partner you can trust, excellent advice that comes from the heart, getting involved in a cultural or creative endeavor, and that corresponds with the King of Cups. Ace of Spring, which is the Ace of Wands. It's time to take action. Be fearless and happily pursue your most treasured dreams, amazing career opportunities. Four of Autumn, which is Four of Pentacles. Manage your resources wisely. Achieve a balance in how you spend and save money. Help out those who are less fortunate. And then finally, you have the High Priestess. Trusting your intuition, careful reflection before taking action, insights that come through meditation. So, I feel like a lot of you are really in this kind of emotionally balanced energy right now, or that's some way that you can get your summer to kind of turn out better, is by balancing your emotions out, because I feel like some of you might be feeling a little bit emotionally blocked at the moment, because Four of Autumn and the High Priestess tell me that you're keeping something secret. I'm sorry for all the glare. I'm trying to get the right angle since these are glossy cards and my lamp is kind of shining off of these. But so the Four of Autumn talks about holding back a lot of the time, or holding on too tightly to things because you're afraid you're going to lose out on them, or because you're being a little bit stingy with them. And it can be resources like money, but it can also be your energy or your time. And then the High Priestess talks about obviously intuition and insights like it was talking about, but this also comes up when someone's keeping something secret or something is still kind of a mystery. So I do feel like there's something that's being held back right now, that someone's hanging on very tightly to, maybe their feelings, maybe something that they want to do that they're holding back instead of taking action on it. And this is suggesting to make the most of your summer. It's time to take action, balance those emotions out and take action, because the Ace of Wands is a very action-oriented card. It's a lot of potential energy, and it can often be inspiration as well. If you're kind of trying to pursue something creative, it's passion, especially if you're in a romantic relationship. It's a lot of physical passion towards somebody. So a lot of these things I feel like are being held back right now, but it's saying to make the most of your summer, try to act on those things. But let's see what advice your oracle cards have to say. So you have Crystal Magic, Creation, Dawn, the Beginning, number 21. So that's great with the Ace of Spring, because aces are beginnings. So this is, again, like very creative energy. So that Ace of Wands is very creative. So I feel like a lot of you are trying to create a new era in your life. There's this new beginning here, but I feel like some of you maybe aren't sure exactly how to go about this, or you're afraid to start just because there's this kind of holding back energy, or you're maybe not wanting to tell people about it, whatever this is. So if it's a relationship, you're not telling your feelings to someone, and if this is like a creative project, you just don't want to tell anybody about it. So this is just saying, just begin. You don't have to kind of hold back on acting on this situation. And then you have Barnabas and the Prince, adventures, discovery, travel, meeting destiny, and this is number 11. So this card always makes me think of like destined meetings, like kind of a serendipitous event as well. So if there's, a situation where you end up doing something a little bit differently than you normally do, and you end up running into someone and you would never have met them had you done what your routine usually kind of dictates that you do, that's this kind of situation where just out of nowhere the odds are against you, and yet you meet this person or you come across this opportunity. So I do feel like there's going to be this kind of serendipitous event happening in your life that's going to present you with an opportunity that maybe you're unsure if you want to act on it, you're afraid to act on it. And so this is saying, you know what, this lined up for you for a reason. So make sure that you take action and that you don't kind of talk yourself out of it. And notice you guys got actually quite a few more cards than the other two groups, because I think for them I did 3 tarot cards and just 1 of every deck, but you guys got like 2 of a bunch of the oracle cards, so and 4 tarot cards. So just so you know, this might take a little bit longer for this pile, but I'm going to try to keep things quick. So you have fire spirit energy, number 17. So that's very much like Ace of Wands energy as well, this fiery energy, taking action, this potential energy too, because that's what I was talking about, is aces are potential energy, and especially the Ace of Wands I feel like is this passion and this fire, but it doesn't necessarily have a direction yet. So I think this is saying you've got this potential, so are you going to act on it or not? And then you have meandering pathway, flow, number 24. So I think a lot of you maybe are just trying to go with the flow right now. Maybe some of you are afraid to kind of pick a direction because what if you fail? So you're just trying to let life guide you or let life kind of push you along. But sometimes you have to take a direction too, especially if things get murky, if you don't know which direction to go, if there's no paved path for you, you might have to just kind of cut your way through the brush a little bit, because otherwise you're not going to get out of the woods, you know? So I feel like a lot of you might need to kind of pick a more distinct direction. And there are times to go with the flow, but I feel like a lot of you maybe are being a little bit too passive in your life at the moment. And this is suggesting taking more direct action. And yeah, with coffee break too, this is making me think some of you maybe are kind of in this perpetual state of being on a coffee break, like where you're not getting as much work done. You're not taking action on something. You're just like, oh yeah, I'll do it once I have more motivation, or, oh, first I'm going to do this. You know, it's just, there's always kind of a reason for you to not act on it. And this is saying, you know, cut that out, recognize that behavior, and take action anyway, even if you don't feel 100% certain. Most things in life you don't feel 100% certain about. So just take action and see what happens. You have inspiration. So wasn't that what I was saying about the Ace of Spring? That's totally inspiration. So it says, be prepared, as you'll soon receive a visit from the Fairy of Inspiration. Come dusk or dawn, she can call at any time. So this is saying you might not expect when this kind of burst of inspiration comes to you. So for a creative project, I feel like maybe have a notebook, especially seeing that book in the High Priestess is making me think you might want to write some things down if you get inspired to do something, or inspired to think about something in a specific way. But if this is maybe being inspired to pursue somebody, ask somebody out, or you get that kind of flood of passion for someone, or butterflies in your stomach, this is saying, you know, maybe act on that. That's for a reason, you know, she can call at any time. So I think a lot of you aren't anticipating feeling this way about this situation or this person. But this is a really great beginning, and I love that you have dawn on this card, and then this says come dusk or dawn, she can call at any time. So I do feel like this is this energy of a new beginning, but you can't always predict when that new beginning is going to occur. But just try to maybe flow with that as well. You know, don't try to push it down or push it away. You have invigorate. So I think a lot of you might need to find some way to invigorate yourselves. And with that coffee break too, I feel like you're kind of focusing on the break period and not on like the coffee part of it, that you might need to re-energize yourself, find a way to kind of get motivated again, and to get excited about life. And I feel like some of you have that excited feeling, but you're really trying to tamp it down because you feel like maybe it won't work out. Like it's risky, you know. I feel like a lot of the time things that are exciting are risky, but this is saying just take a chance and see what happens. And also seeing the coffee break and then Barnabas and the prince is really making me think that you might have like a destined meeting at a coffee shop. I feel like some of you might meet someone at a coffee shop, or there might be an opportunity that's there. Like, you know, a lot of coffee shops have like a bulletin board with notices for different opportunities or job postings, or, you know, info about an event that's coming up. So I think a lot of you might see something that's like, whoa, that would be really awesome. You know, what if I do that? Or you might bump into somebody and start chatting with them. So just take that chance. When something lines up for you like that, take a chance on it. You have feather. So I think, yeah, a lot of you, there's some divine intervention going on here. And with that High Priestess, that's divine intervention as well. So you might be seeing some signs and synchronicities kind of coming in for you that are pointing you in a specific direction, and maybe you're not sure whether or not to take them. But this is saying take them. And also the feather is making me think of like levity and lightness. So I think some of you might need to be not like, might need to cut out the seriousness a little bit. That Four of Autumn is making me think of being very serious when it's not necessary all the time. So I feel like some of you might need to kind of infuse your life with a little bit more levity and lightness and invigorate yourselves, you know, have fun a little bit. I think some of you need to relearn how to have fun again. You have Moon, so that's more intuitive energy with the High Priestess as well. This can also be very emotional energy, so make sure that your emotions are in balance, because I feel like some of you might repress your emotions because when those emotions come up, they get overwhelming and it gets to be too much, so then you press them down again. But that's just going to perpetuate that cycle. You have to learn to flow with your emotions and make sure that you are allowing them up, but not allowing them to kind of take over and have all the power over you. You know, you just have to keep it in balance. And then finally you have the Old One. The ancestors call, seek their wisdom. So I feel like a lot of you have kind of some ancestral patterns that you're repeating. So whether this is something that you're aware of, like with, you know, repeating patterns that your parents kind of set out for you, or doing things because your family wants you to do them a certain way, or you know, you're recognizing that you have a lot of traits that your parents did, or even like grandparents or something, but that your ancestors did things a certain way, and so you're continuing to do things that way, even if it doesn't necessarily feel right to you, but you just feel like maybe it's the only way you've ever known, or it just seems like that's the only way that you can see. Like, I feel like a lot of the time, if you don't kind of actively explore other routes, this seems like the only path available to you. So maybe that's why it's saying flow, is that this is the path that you've seen, but it just feels like it's getting you nowhere. You're not really resonating with it. You maybe want to kind of go down the more bright and sunny path, and instead you're going down this dark path just because that's what's paved. And this is saying kind of seek the wisdom of your ancestors, like learn from their mistakes, learn from what they've done differently, and recognize that you don't have to repeat things the same way that they've done them. Because I think if you repeat things over and over, you're not really going to get a different result. And I think a lot of you are hoping for a different result by doing things the same way that you've always done them. And also an additional message is that I think you do have some ancestors who are helping guide you, especially like with, I'm thinking feathers. If you're somebody that's been seeing a lot of feathers, I feel like for a lot of you, that's kind of an ancestral sign for you. Like you see that and you think of someone who passed away, or it's just making you feel protected and safe again. So just kind of make note of when those things happen. And a lot of the time you recognize when you're on the right path, when that kind of stuff comes up. So group 3, I want to get some more information. So let's do your charms. And we are going to use the heart to figure out what's in the heart of the situation today. So group 3, how can you make the most of your summer? Okay, so you have a lot of things that kind of landed in your heart today. This usually doesn't happen where I've got everything kind of sitting there. So let's figure out how to start. So I'm just going to actually take these out of the heart and kind of put them up in the corner because this is just a lot to look at. So with the Statue of Liberty, that's making me think of like immigrants moving on in hopes of a better life. So I feel like for a lot of you, that's kind of what your ancestors did for you. I mean, most people I think had immigrant ancestors, but this is making me feel like you're trying to perpetuate a cycle because your ancestors did something and you're feeling like you owe them, or you owe it to them to continue that pattern or to continue that legacy or whatever. But this is saying the reason that they did that is so you'd have the freedom to figure out what life you want and to be able to live that life. So this is giving you back the freedom and the power to live life the way that you want to and not for someone else. You have the plane here, so that's some travel energy. So some of you are maybe wanting to travel, or that's something that would kind of invigorate you this summer. And this is also just saying look at things from a higher perspective. Don't be afraid to kind of move quickly as well, because with the sailboat, that's some more travel, but like a different pace of travel. That's making me think of that go with the flow energy, like maybe moving on, trying to move on from a more difficult situation and like kind of moving into something that feels a little bit better. I feel like a lot of you have kind of gone where the wind takes you instead of really having a precise direction, and that's maybe not feeling right to you. Okay, the key wants to come up first. I was trying to get that starfish, but we'll do the key next. So the key, this is the biggest key in my charm bowl. So I feel like this is saying there's a huge solution like staring you in the face. There's whatever problem you're facing, whatever obstacles you have the power to change that, to fix it. You know what to do in a lot of cases. This is making me think of that high priestess. Like, I feel like your gut knows what you have to do, but you're just kind of holding back from doing it. You have the 2 interlocking hearts, so that's making me feel like a connection might be kind of on your mind for a lot of you. So like we were talking about, this could be wanting to take action on a romantic relationship, but that's not going to resonate for everyone. So otherwise, just there's a lot of love in your life, and I think this is saying to make the most of your summer. Make sure that you're fostering those connections and kind of bonding with people. That's really, I think of bonding with those hearts. This night is about taking action, so very active energy, making sure that you're not holding back. This particular night always makes me think of the Knight of Swords too, so that's just not thinking too much about it and just jumping in and going for it, doing it, overcoming obstacles, being determined to meet your goal. The starfish talks about healing, so I feel like a lot of you are really needing to work on your healing, and I think maybe that's why some of you have been so stuck, is that you haven't done the healing. You've been pushing those emotions down, you've been ignoring them, you've been trying to avoid them or acting like you're fine when you really know that you're not. So I think focusing on your healing is really going to help. The dragonfly is a symbol of good luck. It's also a symbol of joy and transformation. And then with this kind of circle, like bubble around it, it always makes me think of like not letting outside factors influence your joy or influence your transformation. Don't be affected by those outside factors because they're not you. Make sure that you have a strong enough sense of self to continue on the path that you are meant for, and not changing that according to what outside factors or other people are thinking or feeling or what they're trying to get you to do. And then you have Q, so that makes me think about questioning things. The word queen is coming to mind, so I feel like, again, that's about taking sovereignty and power over your own life back. But the letter Q might also stand out for a lot of you, so some of you might have a word that's kind of standing out. But I do feel like otherwise it has to do with questioning, or maybe like kind of going back and forth on things for too long and then not taking action because you're stuck in that questioning mode. The half and half makes me think of kind of sweetening a bitter situation. And this is really great going with your coffee break card. So some of you might actually put half and half in your coffee. That's an extra little fun message for you. But this just talks about, sweetening a dark situation, bringing that lightness and levity to the darkness and recognizing that you can always kind of change it. You don't have to just let things be bitter. You can always adjust it until you feel comfortable with it. I'm realizing you have another knight here. This one right now is making me think of the Knight of Wands. So again, more action-oriented energy. It's very powerful, very passionate, very driven. But the Knight of Wands can sometimes be very in and out energy. It's not always going to follow through. So I feel like some of you, that's kind of where you're at, is that you kind of do an on and off. You're hot and cold on trying to make a change in your life. So this is saying just follow through. I think you need that follow through. You have Lassie, so that talks about not being afraid to ask for help. So if somebody is reaching out to help you, or maybe someone is reaching out asking you for help, and this is saying, I think it's making me think of like making allies too. So if you reach out and help somebody, then they might have kind of a piece of advice that might help you as well. The rooster crowing makes me think that somebody or something is trying to get your attention. So like we were talking about with the ancestral patterns, I feel like your ancestors are definitely trying to get your attention. But otherwise, this might be that somebody maybe really likes you and is really trying to show you, is like flirting heavily with you and you're just not seeing it. Can be an opportunity staring you in the face, like we were talking about with that key. Something is really obvious and you're just either ignoring it or you're doubting it. So don't doubt that anymore. And things are going to clear up. You're going to get clarity, things are going to feel a lot happier, more successful, but I think you also have to embrace that energy too, because I feel like sometimes you have the tendency to bring the darkness back around when you don't need to, just because that's the only thing that you feel you know. You have the cherries, so that makes me think of summertime, but it also makes me think of like sweetness. This is making me think of like like romantic pairing as well, and that's obviously not going to resonate with everybody, but that's kind of standing out as like a passionate romantic pairing as well. But otherwise, that's kind of a symbol of summer and also having fun. I'm thinking of like going cherry picking, like when you're little and you go picking fruit with family or friends or whatever. It's simple, but it's fun. And sometimes those small things are worth more than anything big. And then finally, you have the speedboat. So you've got so much like travel energy. You've got the sailboat, you've got the speedboat, and you have the airplane. So I feel like movement needs to happen. You might be feeling like it's going to go slowly, but maybe speed it up because these are all fairly quick methods of travel. And the nights are signifying faster movement as well. So I do think that you're going to need to kind of push yourself to move faster. So if that means you need to have some extra coffee, then do that. But I think that's really going to be how you can make the most of your summer, is just pushing yourself to take action, start those new things. Even if you're feeling like you want to hold back, don't. Just do it. Just jump in there. So group 3, I hope that this resonated. I would love to hear if it does, so please leave me a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not already done so. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.